Here we go. Oh, hour number 2. Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you with us. It is a Wednesday. There are just some topics that seem to just follow you wherever you go. And I thought this one was long in my past, but it's not, because the other day when I was homesick with the flu, I was watching the news, and up comes the news that Mike DeWine has tapped Jim Tressel, the former Ohio State football coach, to replace John Husted as Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio. Husted, of course, named to replace J.D. Vance as U.S. Senator when J.D. Vance ascended to the White House. Okay, I understand why this is a popular decision. I understand many of you, in fact, most of you, in fact, probably all of you, love Jim Tressel because you have a very fond memory of his time as Ohio State's football coach. I have had a long and involved history with Jim Tressel, and know his history, I would dare say, better than almost anyone in this city or in this state. And I doubt very seriously if any member of the Ohio General Assembly will take the time to acquaint themselves with Jim Tressel's background in a way that I think it would be incumbent upon them if they're going to vote for him or confirm him to a position as important as Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio. I will leave it to the much more learned political pundits than myself, like Matt Mayer, who yesterday talked with you at length about the political ramifications of Jim Tressel being named to succeed John Husted as Lieutenant Governor. I do not know, nor will I guess, whether Jim Tressel has designs on being the governor of the state of Ohio, running as he would have to at age 74. Would not surprise me at all, because his ego is such that I believe he believes he could do that job. And I believe he, having been out of the spotlight for some time, would probably enjoy it. I think he would be a force to be reckoned with if he runs for re-election, but that's not where I'm going to go regarding whether Vivek Ramaswamy could beat him or whether he'll run or anything like that. What I would say is what I have always said, which is that you get the leaders that you demand. And I would presume that in any high political office, we would want people who are of unimpeachable integrity, or if they are not of unimpeachable integrity, that they would have owned up to their mistakes. I'm not a perfect person. No one is a perfect person. I am a forgiven sinner, and forgiveness is available to everyone. But what is incumbent upon someone who has done something wrong, in my estimation, if you are a man of honor, is you admit your mistake and you take responsibility for your mistake. They might be saying, why are you talking about these kinds of things in relation to Jim Tressel? Jim Tressel's a wonderful man. Jim Tressel's a high man of integrity. He's a man of character and all that. And I understand why you think that. But what you are choosing to not research and what you are choosing to not avail yourself of is knowledge that is out there if you spend a half an hour or 5 minutes, either one, on the internet, the circumstances that led to Jim Tressel's departure from Ohio State. Now, when I bring that up, I can hear former players of Coach Tressel saying, oh, here you go with the tattoo stuff. Really, Bruce? The tattoo stuff? We got players driving $100,000 cars and making millions of dollars a year. And all the stuff that Jim Tressel went on probation for is 100% legal now in NCAA college athletics. And they would be 100% right. They would be 100% right on that. But the larger issue is not that Jim Tressel lost his job because his players took tattoos and sold their memorabilia, which was against NCAA rules at the time. The larger issue to me is a reflection of his complete and utter lack of integrity, because I would never knowingly sign my name to a lie. And it is indisputable and inarguable, no matter how much you love the 2002 national championship, and no matter how much you love the sweater vest and the senator nickname that he had as head coach, it is indisputable and inarguable that Jim Tressel lied to his employers at Ohio State, lied to the NCAA, and did not do what a man of honor does when they are apprised of things that are going wrong that could endanger the safety of players under their direction. That is inarguable, and it's not just me saying it. It was the NCAA who said it, and it was Jim Tressel's own employer, Ohio State University, who said it. Let's just go back, and I'll read you the timeline right out of the NCAA report. All the stuff that happened, that transpired, that led to Jim Tressel resigning his position as football coach at Ohio State on Memorial Day of 2011. He was notified of in an email from a former Ohio State football player in April of 2010. He got an email from this player, this ex-player who was an attorney in town, who said, you've got players who are selling their stuff to a guy who is under a felony drug trafficking investigation, a guy who has witnessed a murder. This is a bad dude. You should keep your players away from this guy. April 2nd, 2010. The emails continued between the former player and Tressel throughout April. And then in September, Jim Tressel signed an NCAA form that all coaches are required to sign, asking him, do you know of any violations in your program? It's a routine thing. All coaches are obligated to sign it, because if you knew of any violations in your program, you were compelled to tell both your employer. His contract called for him to tell his employer if he knew of it. He didn't tell Gene Smith, his athletic director. He didn't tell the university president, Gordon Gee. He didn't tell anybody. He kept it a secret. If your son or daughter played for Jim, well, not your daughter, but if your son played for Jim Tressel at the time and was mixed up with a guy who had witnessed a murder and was involved in a federal drug trafficking investigation, and the head coach who, when he recruited your son, told you that I'll look out for him, I'll raise him to be a great man, would you want the coach to call you and say, you know, I'm hearing some things that your son is messed up with a really bad dude. I'm going to talk to your son, and you're going to talk to your son. We're going to get this straightened out. We're going to tell him to stay away from this guy. Would you want to call as a parent if that was the guy coaching your son? I would want that call. He didn't make that call. He didn't make that call to any parent, not a single one. Okay? So then in September, he signed the NCAA form. He signed his name to a lie. Then in December, Ohio State found out through federal authorities. They raided this guy, the guy under investigation for drugs. They raided this guy's place of business, and they found the memorabilia from Ohio State's players. And they went to Ohio State. The feds went to Ohio State, and they said, hey, we got this stuff from your players. And there was a press conference at Ohio State in December of 2010. Now, remember, Tressel got the email in April that he knew about this. Did he come forward then and go, yeah, you know, I knew about this in April? And no. He made those players sit up there at a press conference and confess to their wrongdoing. And he never said a word about knowing a thing about it. Finally, the university was going to appeal the suspensions that were given the players for the following season. And they went through all of Tressel's old emails. And that's when they found out that he knew about this, 8 months before? And so it's not me saying that this happened. It's not somebody who doesn't like Jim Tressel saying this happened. I just don't find it to be a characteristic of somebody who should hold the position of lieutenant governor in the state of Ohio, that they would sign their name to a lie, that they would hang their players out to take the blame for something that they knew about. And then after Jim Tressel's duplicity and all this was exposed in March, he still never to this day explained why he did what he did or apologized for why he did what he did. I don't find that to be demonstrative of someone who has integrity and character. And I don't find it to be a characteristic of somebody that I think is fit to serve one heartbeat away from being the governor of the state of Ohio. I understand my opinion is going to be dramatically different than yours. I understand that all you care about is that he won a lot of football games and he was 9-1 against Michigan. But you get the kind of leaders that you demand, and it doesn't even have to enter the conversation as to whether or not he's qualified to lead an operation as big as the state of Ohio should something happen to Mike DeWine, or whether Jim Tressel would be qualified to lead the state of Ohio as governor of Ohio if he chooses to run for re-election. He has already, in my view, proven himself to be the kind of person who will always prioritize his own personal reputation and image over doing what is right. I know that doesn't comport with what you think of him, but those are what the facts say.